As you can see, we're doing a hybrid, so this will be, some of the panelists will be here on your screen. We'll turn down the lights when it's their turn, but I'm Assembly Member Sharon Quirk-Silva, and we're happy to welcome you to Buena Park Senior Center and the Senior Scam Stopper. I have seen a few of you before, and we appreciate you coming back. There's always more to learn. Sadly, when we talk about fraud or cybersecurity, every time we think we have a handle on it, there's some new way to scam or fraud people. But with that, I do want to make a few introductions. As you know, there's some provider tables around. Please take a little bit of time afterwards, because there's some really vital information that could be really helpful, whether it's for you or a family member. But we do have tables here with helping hands. We have Maxine, helping hands. Where are you? Back there in the corner. We have the Department of Insurance. We have the Alzheimer organization, Kristen Palmer. Alzheimer's over here. We have Meals on Wheels back there in that corner with Linnea. And I'm sorry we don't have everybody's name listed. We have the Orange County Department of Aging. Where are they? Orange County Department of Aging. Oh, right here, sorry, Council of Aging. We have Cal Optima, which is back here in this corner. And we have Senior Helpers. Where's our Senior Helpers? Back here. We also have a memory support team here. We have Habitat for Humanity back here. For those of you who don't know Habitat for Humanity, they are work together with businesses, nonprofits to help build affordable housing. And we have the Office of the Insurance Commissioner, Ricardo Lara, over here. And we'll get back to you on the last one, because I have a hard time reading that. With us today, we have a few of local electeds who are representing you. We have Rodia Shed, who is from the Buena Park Elementary School District trustee right here. I see Bonnie Pete here with the Cypress Elementary School Board trustee. And I see, I don't believe he's here yet, but if he is here, he'll make a few comments, and that's our Supervisor Doug Chafee's office, who's from the 4th District and represents this area. And with that, those are some of the people we have joining us. We have also allowing us to use this facility is the City of Buena Park, and we have Salvador Ortega, who is a Community Services Commissioner. I'm sorry, Supervisor. Oh, where is Colette? Oh, Colette is one of the commissioners here at Buena Park on the Senior Commission. Wanda, where's Wanda? And there's Wanda over there, Wanda Reynolds. And again, for some of you think, what are those commissioner positions and what are these things? You can actually apply to be on a commission in your own city. Sometimes they have an architecture committee, a planning committee, technology. Many cities have 10 or more commissions. That's actually how I started my journey into politics. I started on the Parks and Rec Commission in Fullerton almost 20 years ago, if you could believe that. So that was, I was first elected to Fullerton City Council in 2004. So I started on Parks and Recreation Commission in Fullerton in 2002. And then just a special little personal privilege. I have my former principal here, Minor Duncan, who I taught at Richmond Elementary, which was the school I attended. But he also was the very first campaign that I ever worked on to have him become a board of trustee in Fullerton as a school board member. So it's really a small world, and a Korean veteran as well. If you are a veteran, let's just have you stand up. If you have, we'd like to give you a big shout out. you, gentlemen. And I'm just gonna make 2 or 3 brief remarks before we start the program. Some of you might know that we have been indeed working on a veterans cemetery to bring to Orange County for now almost 10 years. And we started that in 2013. We are almost at the final step of getting it approved. The legislation has moved 3 different times, changed, because originally we had thought that the cemetery would be in Irvine. There were 3 sites chosen there. None of them seemed to be the site that everybody agreed on. So now we have a new site, which is the Gypsum Canyon in Anaheim. If you go on the 91 East, and you'll see actually Gypsum Canyon exit, it's up in property that the Irvine company donated to the county. So there is well over 200 acres up there. There actually will be, if all of this vision comes true, 2 cemeteries, one for the public, separate from the veterans, and then a veteran cemetery. And we're working on a plan to have some allied forces have another part of the cemetery. They wouldn't be in the veteran cemetery, but it would be a separate part. The legislation has now moved for the 3rd time. We had Governor Jerry Brown come out to Irvine a few times, and now we have a new governor. So we are hoping that this will be signed by middle of September. And we now have funds from the county and from the state matching over $40 million. And that would definitely be enough money to start the first phase. With the county being involved, they're actually right now putting in infrastructure. So the roads to get onto both properties, and as you know, utilities and all of those others. So by joining with the county, it's really going to take us much further than we've been in the past. So we're really excited about that. For some of you who, thank you. We actually have 34 cities. There are 34 cities in Orange County all signed resolutions to support Orange County Veterans Cemetery. And you know we don't always agree on everything, right? So that we had unanimous support is a good thing. And we know that we want to thank you again to the veterans, but to all those families who have young veterans in their family. I have a nephew right now in Okinawa as a young Marine, 18 years old. So we have to continue to support our military families and the hard work they do. That being said, we are moving into our last month of this session of the State Assembly. So August will be that month. All those bills you hear about flying back and forth between the Senate and the Assembly are now coming back. And we will find out which bills make it all the way to the governor's office. So a lot of times people think like, how come California does all of this regulation and it's just so much? Actually, there is a lot of legislation and there is so much, but about half of it gets either vetoed or not signed or killed a year. Because if you remember, do we have any of our 4th grade teachers here? I was one. How a bill becomes a bill, right? So you remember there's many committees, it's got to go through the entire cycle and then go back if there's amendments, and it's quite a process. So we call this a little bit of crazy month in the state of California, August. I have continued to focus on housing, affordable housing, and mental health. I'm a firm believer that we have to treat mental health the same way we treat physical health. Too often, if you go to a doctor, you have a diagnosis, maybe horribly of cancer, then they say you need to go here, here, and here. But if you go to another doctor and you have a mental health issue, many times people and families are left alone to try to figure out how do you navigate that. And we see too often what can happen when a mental health issue is left untreated. So we work very tirelessly to look at those and combine. Sadly, we know that in the last handful of years with the pandemic, COVID, the outcomes for some of our young adults have been very severe. We have Chalk Hospital here in Orange County, and they had to open up an adolescent wing, which sounds like a great thing, right? We now have an adolescent wing, but you got to think about why. And they have young individuals there who have attempted suicide, who have eating disorders, who have some major illnesses here in Orange County. The good news is we have a place for them. The bad news is we have work to do. I'm getting a signal that we need to go ahead and move on to our panelists. As you know, we are here. The program will focus on how you can better protect yourself. And we have 4 panelists with us today. We have Diana Love here. Let me make sure I have my right list here. It says CSLB board member. There she is. She'll introduce herself. Then we have Kevin Durawa, who is a contractor. So one of the good news, we know more people are doing some work on their homes, but we want to make sure you have the right contractor. We have Sally Westlake from the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. She's waving there to you. And then we have from the Bureau of Automotive Repair, BAR, Chantel Ballo.
Over here.
Oh, cheers. This is a hybrid. Okay. So they will be making a presentation at the end. I'll come back and see if there's any additional questions. Are we ready to start? And we're going to lower the lights and it's going to actually get pretty dark, but we want you to be able to see. Thank you so much. Well, the lights are going down. We have Frances Marquez, who is a Cypress councilwoman here.
Okay, Kevin, it's all yours.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get to our panel, I'd like to introduce Contractor State License Board board member Diana Love. She is a representative on CSLB from a senior citizen organization, and she's very passionate about protecting consumers, especially senior citizens. Board member Love, thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? Again, my name is Diana Love, and I am the vice chair for the Contractor State License.
Is that too loud? No, it's okay. Okay.
Board member Love, we just lost your audio. Can you, do you mind unmuting?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'll start over. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Diana Love. I am the vice chair for the Contractor State License Board, also known as CSLB. Thank you for attending today, and thank you, Assemblywoman Quirk-Silva, for hosting this workshop. I've been a Contractor State License Board member for nearly 3 years. I am a public member representing a senior citizens organization on the board. I have a lot of experience protecting and representing seniors. I am a member and immediate past president of the Los Angeles County Commission for Older Adults, an ambassador for the city of Palmdale, treasurer of the Inland Communities Democratic Headquarters Political Action Committee, as well as being a past member of the AARP National District Liaison. I want to tell you a little bit about the purpose of the board. The board licenses and regulates about 300,000 contractors statewide in 45 different classifications. CSLB also registers home improvement salespersons. Those are the ones that come and knock on your door. Our mission is to protect California consumers by licensing and regulating the state's construction industry. We also have protection and outreach is one of the priorities for CSLB. CSLB recently supported legislation, Assembly Bill 2471, that extends the right to cancel contracts for those 65 years of age and older from 3 business days to 5 business days for home improvement contracts. That law went into effect last year. CSLB is also proud to have sponsored Senate bill through Senator McGuire 1189 legislation to provide home improvement contract protection to disaster-related construction rebuild projects. During the presentation, you will learn more about how you can protect yourself when contracting for home improvement by not paying your contractor in advance of work performed. CSLB conducts several outreach events throughout the year, state every year like this one, including workshops for disaster survivors. Consumer scams involving unlicensed contractors have continued during the pandemic. As people continue to work from home, many consumers are looking for contractors for home improvement projects. CSLB recognizes the harm unlicensed contractors pose to consumers, and I am pleased to report that CSLB is continuing to work with other local, county, and state agencies across California to limit unlicensed activity. And we want to stress to you today, it is important for you to get 3 bids and review the top 10 tips to hiring a contractor. Be sure to do your homework before hiring a contractor. Educated consumers are one of the CSLB's greatest weapons against unlicensed and predatory contracting activity. That involves getting at least 3 bids from licensed contractors and using the Find My Licensed Contractor tool, which is on our website. It only takes seconds to check the license, and that's also a link on our website, of the contractor if one comes knocking at your door by typing the license number on cslb.ca.gov. Consumers can do their part. Consumers can report unlicensed activity to CSLB. It's important to report unlicensed activity to help licensed contractors level the playing field and not lose bids to inexperienced and unlicensed contractors. And again, it's very important to confirm that any licensed contractor you are considering hiring complies with home improvement contract requirements. Information regarding home improvement contract requirements can be found in the top 10 tips to hiring contractors. Again, thank you, and thank you to the agencies joining us today.
Thank you, Board Member Love, for those comments. And like Board Member Love mentioned, today we're going to make you seniors better to protect yourselves. We're going to educate you and make you a better educated group. I want to thank Assembly Member Quirk-Silva again, and the Buena Park Senior Center, of course, and our esteemed panelists. We'll hear from Sally Westlake from Department of Financial Protection and Innovation in a moment, and Chantel from the Bureau of Automotive Repair. But first, my name is Kevin Duroway from CSLB. I'm going to share my slideshow here with you. So when we talk about CSLB, as Board Member Love mentioned, we do protect California consumers. We're a consumer protection agency. We do that by licensing contractors, nearly 300,000 contractors in 45 different classifications. That's things like concrete, fencing, different classifications, solar, electric. Unfortunately, we hold these seminars because unlicensed individuals, they do target seniors. So how do they target seniors? Why do they target seniors? Well, seniors are usually very trusting. That makes them more vulnerable to scams. Very kind people, and you trust a little too much sometimes, and scammers know this. Unlicensed individuals will try to manipulate seniors. They might say something to you like, oh, you have a grandson who goes to Laguna Creek High School? Well, my friend down the street, he plays for the Laguna Creek High School football team. They're doing great this year. They'll try to establish a connection with you before manipulating you. Also, you should know that scammers are attracted to seniors because they're interested in your life savings and your pension. That's what makes you a prime target for unlicensed individuals and scammers. Some of the biggest scams we see at CSLB, it involves unlicensed individuals asking for a large down payment. This is very important. If you're going to consider home improvement work, the down payment must be no more than 10% or $1,000, whatever's less. Okay. So if they're asking for more than 10% or $1,000, something's not right and you should be calling CSLB. Some other common scams involve door-to-door sales and pressure and scare tactics. An example of this might be someone knocking on your door saying, hey, I was doing work on your neighbor's front lawn down the street. We've got some extra sod. You can get a great deal today. I'll redo your whole front lawn for $500. They want the cash right now from you and we'll get this done. Well, here's the problem. You don't know if they're licensed contractors. You don't know if they're qualified to do the work and you don't know what's on their truck. So what you might end up having to do is you might hand over that money. They might do a lousy job on your front lawn and then you're going to have to pay again to get it redone the right way. So always use caution. Don't open your door to strangers. Have them leave their information on your doorstep and then you can check their license number later. Other scams we see involve verbal agreements. You never want to just handshake a deal with a contractor. You want to get everything in writing, especially during the pandemic. The prices of materials, they will change, but those need to be indicated on the contract in writing and what's called a change order that you sign and the contractor signs. Other common scams, never pay a contractor in cash, okay? Pay with a check and make a copy of that check and save it in a folder so you can refer back and say, yeah, I did pay you on August 12th. I paid you that down payment. I have the record of it right here. So what can you do if you've been scammed? Well, call CSLB. You can give us a call, 1-800-321-CSLB or 2752. You can also go to our website, cslb.ca.gov, and click File a Complaint to get the complaint process started. I'm going to actually show you how to get to that on our website. So here's our homepage, cslb.ca.gov, okay? Here's how you get to that complaint button. You just go down to the middle of the screen, it's right there. So once you file that complaint, you should know that you have 4 years from the date of any construction to file a complaint. So if you have got a project done last summer you're still not happy with, you can still file a complaint with CSLB. And you should also know, as Board Member Love mentioned, you have a 5-day right to cancel any contract. So if for some reason you feel like you did fall victim to one of those high pressure scams I was talking about, you have 5 days to cancel that contract. And that is for seniors ages 65 and older, okay? Why should you use a licensed contractor? Well, licensed contractors, they pass trade and law exams and background checks. So you're getting that added protection and education. They're required to hold $15,000 bonds, and they're required to have workers' compensation insurance if they have employees. This is very important that they have workers' compensation insurance. If they don't, and a worker gets hurt on the job, you may be held liable for that worker's injuries. So why should you use a licensed contractor? Well, you get that greater consumer protection, okay? CSLB, we can step in and help with any kind of problems with the contractor, licensed contractor, including negotiation, mediation, and arbitration. These are all free to you, the consumer. And we have greater leverage working with licensed contractors. So when you hire a licensed contractor, it's easier for us to solve your problems. We also should note that California law requires licensed contractors for any home improvement job that costs $500 or more. So how do you find a contractor? I get this question all the time. It's okay to look around and talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends and family, and get a recommendation on a contractor, especially if they've done great work. But here's the thing. Once you get that name, I want you to get that go that extra mile, get that extra step, and get the license number of the contractor. Come to our website and check it on cslb.ca.gov and go do what's called a license check. It only takes a few seconds to do this license check. I'll show you again. Here's the home page. Right down here on the bottom, it's a big old check mark. Click that, put in the license number. You can search by business name. If you don't know the license number, you can even search by the personnel name, okay? Or the home improvement salesperson number or name. This will bring up an individual license page, which gives the business information of the contractor, which includes the date that their license expires, their license status, which makes sure that their license is active with CSLB. It will also list any disclosed complaints from others on there. It will also list what kind of classification. So what are they licensed to do? Are they licensed to do concrete, or are they only licensed to do landscaping? You may not want to have your landscaper do your front driveway if they're not licensed to do so with CSLB. It also includes bonding information and workers' compensation insurance information, so you can confirm they have workers' compensation insurance. Another way to find a contractor, as Board Member Love mentioned, it's really easy. You can go to our website, cslb.ca.gov. Right down to this button right here, this handy list, find my licensed contractor. You click on that button and you'll get to it in the next page, which looks like this. You can simply put in your city of residence or your zip code and choose from that drop-down menu what type of contractor you're looking for. Are you looking for fence work? Are you looking for tree work? Choose it from that drop-down menu, put in your zip code and hit search. You'll get a nice downloadable and printable list with licensed contractors who are willing to help you in your area. It only takes seconds and it's going to save you lots of headaches down the line. So remember, protect yourself. Get at least 3 bids and get them in writing, okay? We want you to contact at least 3 different contractors. You're getting a good old price, an idea of how much your project is going to cost by looking at 3 different examples of pricing, okay? Ask for the references when you meet these contractors and check those references. When you meet the contractors in person, ask to see their pocket license. It's going to be a laminated card about the size of a credit card that looks like this. Compare this pocket license to a picture ID, okay, like a driver's license. Make sure the names match on those 2 items to make sure that this person that you're actually talking to is the licensed contractor. More on getting the 3 bids. When you're getting those 3 bids, ask about employees. Remember, if they have employees, they need workers' compensation insurance. That protects you as a consumer. Don't ever feel pressured or don't feel you need to sign any estimates or sign any of these bids. You're only going to need to sign a contract after you look over the contract. You don't need to sign estimates. More items on the contract. Who can negotiate the contract? Only the contractor who's on the license and a home improvement salesperson. Be very cautious when you're dealing with electronic contracts or contracts on tablets. They can be altered after you sign them. You should know that you're required to receive a written copy of the contract before any work begins. That's your right as a consumer. Other things the contract should include are a progress payment schedule. You never want to let your money get ahead of the work. In other words, you don't want to give more than half the money of the project to the contractor until half of the work is done. The contract should include a progress payment schedule. The contract should also include a list of any subcontractors or material suppliers that this contractor is going to be working with. That's so you can make sure that they've been paid and you can avoid something called mechanics liens. The contract should also include start and finish dates, so you have an idea of how soon this project will be completed. And again, the reason we're getting this written contract is if there's any changes that need to be made, they're made in writing and that you and the contractor both sign those changes. That's your right as a consumer. I want to quickly touch on solar really quick before I wrap up. There's a lot more solar projects going up in California. There are more problems. We've created a solar task force to deal with increase in problems. We have a solar smart page on cslb.ca.gov. It gives you information and it has you asking questions like this. Is solar right for you? Well, that's going to depend on how long you're going to spend in your home. If you're going to spend less than 5 years in your home, you probably don't want to consider something like solar. You also probably want to look at what direction your roof is pointing. Is your roof obstructed by any kind of trees? It'll hamper the benefit of your solar project. You also want to be doing the math with any kind of solar project by looking at the total cost of the solar system and comparing it with your monthly utility bill and how much it's going to save you. You want to find out what's your break-even point. When are you actually going to be saving money and paying off this solar system by looking at your monthly payments. Some other reminders when you're dealing with solar. Solar is not free. No matter what anyone tells you, whatever salesman tells you, solar is not free. You will have to pay for that solar system. Be aware of financing programs like PACE, Hero, Chief, or Real loans. They often carry high interest rates that are tied to your property taxes. That can make it more difficult for you to refinance or sell your home. Please remember to protect yourself when you're dealing with a solar contractor or any contractor. Make sure you have control over your payments. Get everything in writing like we talked about in a written contract. And with solar projects, you should be given a financing estimate and disclosure document. It should be a one-sheet plan that lists the exact cost of the solar system and how much this solar project is going to cost you. Make sure you read that contract carefully. Sit with a friend and family member. Think it over for 24 hours before signing it and getting it back to the contractor. This is a big decision you're about to make. Please remember to protect yourself. hire licensed contractors using the Find My Licensed Contractor tool on cslb.ca.gov. It's very easy to get to. Here's our homepage, cslb.ca.gov, and just click on the button, okay? Use that Find My Licensed Contractor tool. Also, check the license online, cslb.ca.gov. You can also get this information by phone, 1-800-321-CSLB or 2752. Again, checking the license, go to our homepage, click on the big blue check, license check there, and you'll be able to get all the information you need by typing in the license number, business name, or personnel name. Please remember, if you're going to remember anything from this presentation today besides hiring a licensed contractor, your down payment for home improvement projects must be no more than 10% or $1,000, whichever is less, Never let the payments get ahead of the work. Money is your leverage when you're working with contractors. Please contact the Contractor State License Board by phone, 1-800-321-CSLB. You can also email us, social@cslb.ca.gov. My name is Kevin Durway. Thank you so much for your time today. I'll be happy to answer your questions here at the end. For now, I'd like to stop sharing my screen and pass it off to Sally Westlake over at Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you, Assemblymember Quirk-Silva and Contractor State License Board for the opportunity to join me today. My name is Sally Westlake, and I'm the Outreach Specialist for the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, or DFPI for short. Today, I'm going to share with you all about who we are, what we do, and how we can help. And more importantly, tell you about some of the financial scams out there so that you can protect yourself and not become the next victim. There we go. So stop, look, and think. Does that sound easy enough? Well, this is my mantra. And if you remember anything from my presentation today, remember that lady on the big screen said, stop, look, and think before you click or tap on any link or attachment. Today's objective is to learn how not to become a victim of fraud and scams, because the more you know, the more you're able to protect yourself from financial fraud. I'll be available with the panel to answer any questions at the end. So, the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, or DFPI, we protect consumers and foster trust by regulating companies and individuals offering financial products and services. As a regulator, we license and regulate California chartered banks and credit unions, money transmitters like Venmo, PayPal, Western Union, payday lenders, and so many more. But a full list is available on our website. But basically, if they're providing financial products and services to Californians, we likely regulate them. So what's our role? We enforce the laws and regulation of the industries that we regulate. We conduct audits to ensure state and federal compliance, investigate consumer complaints of financial abuse and fraud, and pursue legal actions against those operating illegally or using unlawful, deceptive, or abusive business practices. We also foster innovation by encouraging the development of responsible financial tools that help all Californians thrive. Our goal of the outreach team is to increase awareness, so to protect consumers from predatory businesses that are engaging in deceptive practices, to help protect consumers from falling prey to frauds and scams. How do we promote consumer awareness? Well, first, we provide presentations and trainings in partnership with community-based organizations and legislative offices. Our topics can include a variety of financial topics, including fraud prevention and financial empowerment. Our team's focus is to inform the most vulnerable in our communities avoid scams and make choices that set them up for financial success. We also provide educational publications. It's available on our website, but we can also send you a hard copy for free if you prefer. So this is just one of our publications, Protect Yourself from Fraud. This booklet is designed to encourage Californians to check before you invest and provides information needed to stop financial investment fraud before it happens. This booklet is great to have on hand because it's going to remind you about some of the scams that I'll be telling you about today, And the back of the booklet also has a comprehensive resource guide with phone numbers and websites. Well, studies have shown that an informed and educated consumer is less likely to fall victim to financial frauds and scams. There's so many scenarios created to scam and defraud consumers with the sole purpose of gaining access to your personal information and ultimately your money. So you have to know that one of the reasons these scammers and fraudsters keep calling, texting, and more is because there's still people out there that are falling for these scams. Now, I've got a long list here of common scams, and this isn't a complete list, but I'm going to talk to you today about the latest trending scams over here to the right, so that you won't become the next victim. Phishing, smishing, and vishing are all methods of identity financial fraud that differ in how these scammers contact you, whether it's by email, text, or phone, basically to steal personal details or your financial account information. Phishing is contacting you via email. Vishing is through phone, robocall, or voicemail. And smishing is contacting you via SMS or text message. Now, all of these methods have one thing in common. They create a sense of urgency, and it tries to get you to take action, act on something with a single goal in mind. And that goal is to steal your money. So let's start with one of these most common scams out there, the romance sweetheart scams. We all want to fall in love, right? Who doesn't? Well, the most recent report by the FBI said romance scams are on the rise, and last year, over 3,000 Californians fell victim to online romance scams, losing a total of nearly $184 million. The most vulnerable to fall victim to romance scams are people over the age of 60. Now, these scams take place mostly on dating apps, social media, or through other websites, involving scammers forming fake romantic relationships with victims in order to manipulate them and take their money. Often these money payments take place in the form of cryptocurrency or gift cards. So what can you do to protect yourself? Be careful what you post and make public online. Verify the person's photo and see if it's been used anywhere else on the internet. Try a Google image search to see what comes up. Ask a lot of questions. Beware if the individual seems too perfect and quickly asks you to communicate with you more directly or asks to meet up with you in person, but they always come up with an excuse last minute why they can't make it. Beware if the individual attempts to remove you from your friends and family. Beware if the individual requests inappropriate photos or financial information. And as a general rule to avoid scams of any kind, never send money to anyone you've only communicated with online or by phone. So, text with links. Anyone else get these? Well, smishing is a kind of fraud similar to phishing, except that it comes in the form of a text message. A smishing text will often contain a fraudulent link that takes victims to a site that's used to steal their information. The link may also download malware such as viruses, ransomware, spyware, or adware onto the victim's device. So these smishing text messages may appear to be urgent requests sent from a bank or a parcel delivery service, for example. They may claim that there's been a large withdrawal from your bank account or that you need to track a missing package. And it can be easy to fall for these scams if you think you must take quick action to solve an urgent problem, right? So what can you do? Never click on links from someone you don't know. Go directly to the real website of the organization the communication says it's coming from, or call them using the phone number from the real website or from your bank statement or the bank of your bank card. Check to see with them directly if the notification indicated in this email or text message is real. I'm going to say this throughout my presentation, but basically go to the source. Go to the source, find the real phone number, the organization that you're trying to contact. Even if your text says, oh, it's from Wells Fargo, There's a fraud alert. Please contact this link. Please call us back on this toll-free number. Nope, you're not going to do it. You're actually going to call the real Wells Fargo, the phone number from your bank statement or from the back of your card. That is going to the source. So now here's an example of a phishing scam. Look at this email. Let's start at the top. It says it's from Bank of America, but look at the actual email address. It's from a Comcast email address, right? Real businesses and organizations use email addresses with their business name, not Comcast, not Gmail, not Hotmail or any of those other email addresses. Now, next look at who the email is going out to. It should be addressed specifically to you and not to undisclosed recipients. This looks like it's a mass email blast. Then you also want to look at grammar and typos in an email. Member should be capitalized, but should also, again, be addressed to you. And you want to hover over the link here, and you'll see that the real website address, the link is going to take you to, and it's not B of A. If you happen to click on this link, it will probably ask you to enter your account number, then verify by entering your social security number, then your date of birth, and so on. And then you start to think, well, wait a minute, why do they need all this information? It's also going to say, oh, hey, you have any questions? You want to talk to a live person? Call us at this toll-free number, which again is going to be fake. So if you get any emails that just doesn't seem right, trust your instincts and go to the source. Call the real B of A by finding the real website or calling the number on the back of the statement or card. So let's look at utility company fraud. This usually involves a phone call. Someone from the gas company or Southern California Edison calls and says, well, hello, Mrs. Garcia. This is a courtesy call letting you know that your electricity payment is delinquent. And if a payment is not made today before 5 p.m., oh, your electricity is going to be cut off. But I can help you and not be charged with the $100 reconnection fee. And they ask you to, well, go ahead and go to the store, purchase some gift cards and call them back at the number they give you once you have your gift cards, or Western Union them the money. Stop, look, and think. First, are you late on your bill? The utility companies don't have time or the manpower to call you every delinquent customer that's out there. So first of all, first clue should be, okay, I'm not late, okay? And then they shouldn't have your phone number most of the time. So any delinquent letters, they come in the mail, and on the outside of the envelope, it says that it's a late notice, okay? They don't call you. So again, if any government agency, utility company says to send them money via Western Union or buy gift cards, that's definitely a scam. And you never call them back at the number that they're asking you to call them back at. Instead, again, you're going to go to the source because you want to know who's on that other line. And if you don't know the number that you're calling is 100% legit, you don't know who's going to be on the other end of that phone call. Whoops, going back here. Let's look at bogus and copycat sites. When you're shopping online, please make sure that the website you go to is an actual correct, legitimate site. And how do you check? Make sure you look at the address and that it has a lock, okay, next to the address, next to the URL address, and that it's spelled correctly, that the website actually does say Amazon.com and not Amazon.com, for example. One letter off and you're going to be at a fake website. And these scammers are so good that they can duplicate website statements. So it's up to you to make sure that you know where you're at before you start entering and buy things, entering your credit card information, your personal information. Because once you do that, you're giving the perfect example of how your identity and your account information can be stolen. So now let's look at some cybersecurity. During the stay-at-home orders, we did, a lot of us had to do? Shop online. Right? There were stores that weren't taking cash. They didn't have change, right? And that was just a year ago. So what can we do to protect ourselves from becoming a victim and protecting ourselves through cybersecurity? Financial institutions, first of all, spend millions of dollars in cybersecurity, and they have one of the most secured networks. And still, companies get hacked. So knowing this, we have to do our own fair share to protect their accounts and our money. So first, you're going to safeguard your PIN number. Do not use the same PIN number for all your accounts or apps. Now think about your cell phone. If you lost your cell phone today, what can they steal from you? Do you have apps like Venmo, the Zelle app, mobile banking app, credit card numbers, okay, through Apple Pay, stored on your phone or wallet? And if you happen to have only one PIN number for all those apps, they could access and steal your money within minutes. So if you lose your phone, you're going to want to remotely reset your phone to factory settings immediately. That's going to help you erase and remove the financial information from the phone. So if you're using a debit card, also when you're shopping in person, use the credit card option. Bypass the PIN number entry by hitting the green button or the enter button and let the charge go through as credit and not debit. The reason being, if there's a skimmer on that keypad, it's just one other layer of protection from information that the scammers are going to be able to take from you. Let's use secured networks. Always check to make sure that the address, the URL address that you're visiting has an S after the HTTP. It should indicate HTTPS, which shows that it's a secured site. And then again, you have a lock that is closed. And if you have to use free Wi-Fi, like at Senior Center or at Starbucks, make sure to come off the Wi-Fi and close all your browsers. And don't do any banking or shopping where you're having to enter financial information while you're on this free Wi-Fi. And make sure that you are actually logging off any accounts and not just hitting the X in the corner, because that's going to leave your web browser history still open. Let's look at two-step verification or multi-factor authentication. Now, after I enter my password on a lot of my accounts now, I have to actually wait and have the business send me a text, okay, on my cell phone, or send me a code on my email before I can actually finish logging into my account. But I know it's cumbersome, it takes extra time, but it's for my own safety. So if you have the option to sign up for two-step or multi-step verification, please do so. Again, it's another layer of protection for you and your account. And some accounts out there, you don't have the option to not do this. They make you, some of these businesses make you have two-step verification. And you want to change your passwords often. Pick a day of the month, maybe the 15th of every month, you change all your passwords. And please do not use the same passwords for all your accounts. You're just making it too easy. The best password is using a sentence or a paraphrase. And make sure you include some dates and a symbol that is just personal to you and is not posted on social media, like your, let's say, your pet's name. Okay, if your pet's name is Maui, for example, please don't use Maui as a password, just making it too easy. So how much information is out there on social media nowadays? Please, please think before you post. Do your friends really need to know that you're going to Hawaii on August 3rd and that you're going to be back on the 21st, telling the world that no one's going to be home? It's an open invitation to thieves. I mean, do you really know everyone that's following you or are friends with you on Facebook? So please be careful about what you post. So what can you do to safeguard your personal information and protect yourself from fraud? Don't answer the phone from an unknown caller. That's the most important thing you can do for yourself. Let them leave a message. And if it happens to be from a real friend or family, you can always call them back. They're going to understand. And if you happen to get on the phone with an unsolicited salesperson, just hang up. I give you permission just to hang up. I know some of you out there in the audience are just too nice, and it's really hard for you to say, no, thank you, and hang up that phone. You don't want to be rude, and I get that, but you have that right. You do not want to stay on the phone any minute longer than you need to with an unsolicited salesperson, because they're experts. They know exactly what they're doing. The longer they keep you on the phone, the longer, okay, the more chances you're giving them to steal your personal information and ultimately your financial information and then your money. Again, no, thanks, hang up. But first, you should have never answered that phone call, right? If it's from an unknown caller. If someone tells you to purchase gift cards and scratch it and give them the number on the back, just hang up. You know, anything involving a gift card, that's a scam, just hang up. And remember, if Bank of America, DMV, or IRS, Social Security calls and says that they have a problem with your account, and please call us back as soon as possible, what are you going to do? Go to the source. Look up the number for the B of A on your bank statement. Why is the DMV calling you? Did you ask for them to call you? Because remember, government agencies are not going to call you. It's even hard to get them to call you back when you make a request for a call back. So without ever having asked for a phone call, they're not going to call you. Everything that government agencies do is going to come through the mail. When it comes to mail, shred unwanted mail with your name and any identifying information. Don't drop mail in the blue box after the last pickup. If you know that the mailman picks up from the blue box at 5 o'clock, why go put it in the box at 5:30? Because believe it or not, there's still people stealing mail out of those blue boxes. So drop it off the next day and retrieve all packages as soon as it's delivered. Check writers, how many check writers are out there still, right? So if you write checks, you want to consider purchasing an anti-fraud pen to prevent check washing. Because what they do is after they steal your check from the blue mailbox, what they can do is wash off the payable to in a dollar amount. They just leave your signature, but they wash it out with some special solution and they make it payable to them for a higher dollar amount. And they go to the bank and you can cash it because guess what? It's your signature. So again, these pens, you can find them at Office Depot, Staples, under $5. So please consider investing in a pen. And when was the last time anyone's looked at your credit report? You can get a free credit report by going to www.annualcreditreport.com. And if you're done applying for credit, okay, and you know you're not going to be buying a new house, buying a new car, then consider freezing your credit. You can do this by contacting each of the 3 most recognized credit reporting bureaus and to freeze your credit. And if you're a victim of identity fraud, please file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission at reportfraud.ftc.gov. So I know I've given you a lot of information today, but what's the bottom line? Trust your instinct. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Never give out your personal information unless you initiated the contact. And again, always go to the source yourself. So here's my contact information, our website at dfpi.ca.gov. You can file a complaint with us or call our toll-free number at 866-275-2677 or email us at ask.dfpi@dfpi.ca.gov. Thank you everyone for your time today. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over back to you, Kevin.
Thank you. Wonderful information. Chantel from Bureau of Auto Repair. Chantel, I'm told that we only have 5 to 10 minutes left. We ran a little over on time, so I apologize. If you are able to curtail your presentation a little bit, we'd appreciate it. Thank you, Chantel.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. So I do have a quick presentation, so it works out well for everyone. So my name is once again Chantel Ballo from the Bureau of Automotive Repair. We regulate automotive repair and diagnosis here in California, including participants of the Smog Check program and also auto body program. In 1971, the Automotive Repair Act was enacted and signed into law by Ronald Reagan. What that is are laws and regulations for anybody participating doing automotive repair. Okay. All right, sorry for that. So the Automotive Repair Act protects consumers by having laws and regulations that automotive shops, including anybody participating in the smog check program, including licensed inspectors and technicians, to go ahead and abide by. The Bureau was actually created in 1972, and this is our 50th anniversary this year. It was created because there were a lot of complaints from consumers that felt that they were being taken advantage of. For example, they were being charged for work that they never authorized, or they were finding out parts were not replaced, and they felt that it was very unjust. So we go ahead and license over 36,000 automotive repair shops here in California, and including, I don't know how many other for individuals for both the smog check program and also for the break and lab program. As a consumer, you are entitled to an estimate when you walk into a repair shop. So if you say that you're hearing some type of funny noise with your vehicle and you would like the shop to go ahead and diagnose it, they are supposed to provide a written estimate to you. At that point in time, you can go ahead and either authorize the work to be performed or the diagnosis, or just say thank you very much and go to another shop for a second opinion. After the estimate is given to you and you do have work performed, you're also entitled to an invoice. And that's very important because from what I've been seeing, especially when it comes to seniors and other generations, the automotive repair shops may not always provide an invoice to you. And that's a disadvantage because you may not know what actual work was done on your vehicle. So by asking for that invoice, you will have an idea of what work they did. A couple other things that I wanted to bring up is that on the Bureau's website, which is www.bar.ca.gov, we do have an option where you can go ahead and look for a registered automotive repair shop in your specified city or zip code, just as Kevin showed on the CSLB website. The Bureau does offer that, and it also has a license check history, where if there is an automotive shop in your area and you would like to know if they are registered, you can access the Bureau's website and it will provide that information to you. So I do have a table that has some brochures out there. One of them is in regards to the smog check program, a consumer's guide to automotive repair, and then also a program discussing the automotive auto body inspection program. So if anybody has been in a recent collision, hopefully not, and they would like to know if all the parts were replaced on their vehicle or if they have concerns with any of the repairs done, the Bureau does offer a free auto body inspection program that we can always go ahead and set up for you. I don't have any more things to discuss at this time. Thank you. I will be here to answer any questions for those who have any. Thank you.
You have the greatest nails and shoes.
The summer colors. All right. Well, how many of you found out some things between this presentation or this that you didn't know? Probably 100%. I had no idea about the PIN, the, what did they call that PIN? Auto fraud PIN. That's definitely something I did not know about. But I will tell you that sadly, almost all of us have probably had somebody contact us about these types of scams. And too often we find that people do fall victim. And once you fall victim, it can be a full-time job to correct what's happening if you do fall victim. But please, on your way out, if you want copies of any of this information, we didn't do a handout, certainly be happy to get that information to you. But like I said, every day it seems like there's something else that we have to be aware of. But simply, I would tell you one of the best things you can do is put a code on your phone that you have to punch in before the phone even opens up. So that if you lose the phone, doing all the things that we suggested are important, but if you have that code, they can't even get into your phone. And That's like number one when you leave today. If you can do that, at least it will protect you, because how many of you have lost or broken a phone? Right, so you don't want your information out there. Do we have any questions about the presentation? Any questions?
How do we get the handouts?
On the way out, if you just leave your, how are we gonna get the handouts? What's the best way?
On their way out, or they can also always follow up with your office, and we'd be happy to get you all the information you need.
Yeah, you could just do, and again, just go to our website, say you attended and you'd like us to email you the links and the presentation. But if you don't wanna do that, just stop at the table on the way out and just say you'd like us to mail you that information. Hopefully we'll have some of you that want it mailed and some of you that want it online, whichever way, we're happy to get it to you. Any other questions? We're running a tiny bit late, so I don't wanna.
On the contractor, a lot of that license and everything, does that assume if somebody has a license, that they also have the insurance that they need for liability? I didn't see anything mentioned about insurance, but is it just assumed that they have a business license and they're approved that they also have the liability insurance?
Yes, and they also have to have the worker compensation. And let me just tell you a sad story that just happened in my family. My niece, who's 27, just moved into an apartment here in Fullerton, very nice apartment. And they were painting the building, and she had her bed right against the window. And they were painting with the scaffolding. The scaffolding fell into the window. She was sleeping and the glass got into her eyes. And she literally now has a major issue, disability issue, where they don't know that they can repair her eyes, and even things like watching TV or texting, anything. So this just happened about 2 months ago, right there in Fullerton. So it is, you hope people are using somebody reputable, but even under the best circumstances, accidents happen, and that just happened. But so many of these things we've been contacted about, and so many times, the information we give, that Facebook stuff is real. They say now for a 1-year-old child, the images of them are thousands of images, but who's putting those up? So sometimes we do things very innocently, like we're sharing first birthday, we're sharing birth dates, all of these things because we want to celebrate. But a lot of times it's the information we're putting out there. And they also say the millennial generation who's grown up with this technology and social media, that they give it out freely because they don't have this ability to be protective. So they even showed us a little video where they'll go up and talk to somebody, and within 1 minute they can get their birthday out, and it's just like, so how old are you? When were you born? Something like that, and that people are freely giving that information. So we don't want to be too protective, but we also don't want to find ourselves as part of the scam. But I want to thank our team here. We have Joe Pack, our senior field rep. We have Tristan, we have Lily, we have Michael, we have Eddie. Some of you have met our team. Some of our team has been with us since 2014, and I appreciate that. We will be having some additional events, I believe in September, October. I don't have the dates, but keep looking at the information, and we really appreciate you coming out. Thanks so much, everybody.